My name is Jack. I work in the management department of a shipping company. Lately, my wife's behavior has been odd. Since she works from home as a translator, she seldom goes out, except for shopping or to the hair salon. Yet, about a month ago, she suddenly started saying she had meetings and began going out more frequently. But that's not all. She's been spending more time secretly on her cell phone and computer, and on weekends, she says I'm going out for coffee with friends. My wife used to enjoy watching dramas or movies at home while sipping carefully brewed coffee. When we first met, she was an outdoor person, but now she's mostly a homebody. She used to get tired just from attending the monthly parties or barbecues at my workplace. So she is saying she preferred to relax at home during her free time. So, for her to go out to the city to meet friends for coffee seems strange to me. We've been married for over 10 years. As far as I know, she used to meet friends maybe once every 6 months. Anyone would find it suspicious if a person who rarely went out started doing so every week. And there's more evidence to back it up. That sounds like she might be cheating. My junior at work, Mike, responded to my story. Do you think so too? I asked. While munching on a sandwich, Mike nodded emphatically several times. We were at a diner next to our office. It's not particularly delicious, but it's convenient, so I usually have lunch there. My wife, Emily, always says, I could make you lunch. But I keep coming to this diner. It might be more economical to bring a lunch from home. But Emily works from home too. And although we share household chores, she handles most of them. I can bear to burden her more. Also, I have another reason for wanting to leave the office during lunch. The overly friendly atmosphere at our company. It feels like a burden to me. Some might enjoy it. But I don't want to show my lunch to colleagues and comment on each other's lunch. Mike, who is single, also doesn't fit into that culture. So, we outsiders end up having a mediocre lunch together to escape from our colleagues. The reason I took this job was simple. The pay was good. Plus, I love the sea. Having grown up in Hawaii, I spent my childhood swimming and freediving. Even though my job is on land, I'm happy to still be connected to the sea after moving away from Hawaii. I met Emily in college. She was a junior in our diving club, and Emily stood out. It was hard to match every face and name in a club of hundreds. But almost everyone knew who Emily was when her name came up. She was popular and a central figure in the club. And there were many foolish guys who fantasized about being with her. Of course, I was one of them. Emily was always smiling at everyone. She was caring and so perceptive that you'd think she was psychic, always noticing when someone was in trouble. That's why, even after we got married, I couldn't help but worry. But I never expected her to cheat. But hey, it's just suspicion at this point, right? You don't have any proof. Well, yeah, but even if she's been more of an indoor person lately, she used to be into diving and sports. Maybe she's just getting back to being active like in her college days. It's unfair to jump to conclusions now. I frowned at Mike's words. What are you talking about? You were the first to mention cheating. Mike just laughed at that. But he had a point. It's wrong to suspect without solid proof. I should trust my wife, with whom I've shared my life. I thought I had resolved to change my mindset. I'm home. When I called out as I got home, Emily quickly put something into her bag. Welcome back. What was that just now? What do you mean? The thing you just put in your bag? Oh, that's just a book for work. True, Emily reads a lot for her job. But it's usually books. She hardly buys physical books anymore. Suspicious. I'll start on dinner. Emily said that and disappeared into the kitchen. Now would be my chance to check her bag. She seemed hurried and was clearly trying to cover something up. It might be evidence of her infidelity. I reached for the bag, but I decided not to. Even as a spouse, this would be a violation of privacy. I would feel awful if she did the same to me. I'll find proof elsewhere if I need to. And I was afraid. Afraid of confirming that my beloved wife might be cheating. After dinner was ready, we sat down to eat. I tried to enjoy Emily's cooking, changing the topic. So, my boss Bob is being unreasonable again. Bob, my boss. He is inflexible and we don't get along very well. He's competent at his job, and he's not a bully, but I guess it's just a matter of compatibility. Is your boss Bob bringing his wife to the party next month? Our workplace, uncommonly these days, holds a party once a month inviting employees' families. It's supposed to boost team spirit, but I wonder if there's any point in just eating and talking. I'm not the social type, so I'd rather not go if I could avoid it. But I have to follow the company's policy. Grumbling, I've attended every time. Probably, but it doesn't seem like his wife is too keen on coming. You know, it's a hassle, right? I see. Hey, Jack. Emily started to say something but then clammed up when I tilted my head and gave a questioning look. What's up? Never mind, it's okay. More importantly, isn't this stew delicious? I was curious about what she was going to say, but it seemed better not to press. She makes such delicious meals for me. I decided to brush off my earlier concerns as just my imagination. I bit into the tender beef and felt happy with Emily's smile and the delicious food. The next day, Emily had told me she would be home late. She had a client who was only free at night, so the meeting had to be late. After finishing my work, I took Mike to our usual diner, even though it wasn't lunchtime. I'd like to eat something nicer for dinner, you know. What's wrong with this place? It's not bad, and I get anxious being alone. If you're that worried, why don't you just ask her directly? Oh, excuse me. 2 beef stew, please. I shook my head at Mike's suggestion, and he sighed heavily. Man, Jack, you're being kinda soft. Don't say things that hit me so hard. 2 beers, please. I intended to drink lightly, but to distract myself from my gloomy mood, I ended up drinking a bit too much. Mike, let's go to one more place. No way, let's head home. In front of a busy train station, Mike and I were having this conversation. Then it happened. Look over there, Mike pointed, and I followed his gaze. There was Emily. Emily was walking closely with a tall man. The guy seemed pretty young. He looked somewhat familiar, but... Jack, let's go, let's follow them. Mike forcibly dragged me along as I stood there, confused. It's too early to conclude it's an affair. She's probably just walking to the station with a client after their meeting. With all the recent dangerous incidents, I'd actually be thankful if he's escorting her for safety. My agitated heart was finally starting to settle down. We can hear their conversation. Should we get closer? No, it's fine. It's probably just her work. Jack, look. At that moment, my mind went blank again. Emily and the young man were smiling and shaking hands firmly. Calm down, calm down. They didn't kiss or anything. But, however... Jack, sorry. They've already left. It's okay. Everyone shakes hands, right? Oh, want to go for another drink? No, it's fine. Thanks, though. I thanked Mike and decided to call it a night. When I got home, Emily had already returned and was on the phone in the bedroom. I couldn't help but listen in, though I knew it was wrong. I could only catch bits and pieces of Emily's conversation. Just now. So happy. Can't wait. Want to. These keywords could be interpreted in many ways. But my heart was already dominated by suspicion and mistrust, making it sound like a secret rendezvous was being planned. "Okay, talk to you later." Emily hung up the phone. I went back to the entrance as if I had just come home and called out, "I'm home." Emily came out of the bedroom with a smile, saying welcome back, and headed to the kitchen. I glanced at the bedroom where the door was left open. There was Emily's cell phone, tossed on the bed. I swallowed hard and picked it up. Then I opened the call log. There it was, sender. I hardly slept that night. My mind was filled with nothing but bad thoughts, and I felt dizzy even though I was lying down. "You look pale. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." Heading out. Riding the train, my thoughts were a mess. It's pathetic to suffer this much without any solid proof. If she really is cheating, what should I do? As I walked through the company's entrance, Mike came running up from behind. "Jack, there, I found him, from yesterday, you know. The one. He must have been quite rushed." Panting heavily, Mike tried desperately to tell me something. "Mike, calm down and explain, please." "Oh, come on, just follow me." Mike pulled me back the way we came. Near the entrance, he stopped and pointed. Look, there were 2 security guards. One was an older man and the other, the one from yesterday, walking with Emily. He had a friendly face, reminiscent of a small dog, and a well-built physique. Definitely the man Emily was shaking hands with. He wasn't a client after all. But I couldn't believe he was one of our security guards. As I watched for a moment, the older man began to move. I followed and approached him. "Excuse me." The older man turned and nodded at me. "Is that other security guard?" "Sander, right." But the man shook his head. "No, that's not his name." He answered suspiciously and made a troubled face. "If that wasn't Sander, then who is Sander? Could there be a third man? Or is this person lying to me? No good, I'm losing my mind over this. I need to find evidence. I must get evidence." So, I decided to monitor Emily and the young security guard. But since that day, Emily stopped going out. Did she find out I was investigating? No, that can't be it. But still, it's strange how her frequent outings suddenly stopped. It must be because I'm so stressed. I've become so paranoid because I'm overwhelmed. I should ask Emily. I'm scared to hear the truth, but I need to ask to feel at ease. That's the only way left. I steeled myself. I need to talk to you. That night, when I brought up the topic after coming home, Emily looked momentarily anxious. But she seemed to sense something. She looked me straight in the eye and opened her mouth heavily. "I'm sorry." My heart sank at Emily's words. What is she apologizing for? Was she really cheating? No way, right? My mouth trembled and my throat tightened, unable to speak. I've been meaning to say this. I just couldn't bring myself to. I didn't want to hear any excuses. I felt a surge of anger and nausea, wanting to run away. But I had to hear the truth from Emily. So, I asked her. "Since when?" "2 months ago." "Didn't you feel guilty? Just a little?" "Just a little, after doing something like that. I'm sorry, I didn't think it would hurt you so much, Jack." A wave of hot rage washed over my cold body. Of course it hurts. I can't believe Emily would cheat. Then, Emily looked puzzled. Confused, I stuttered. "Cheating? What do you mean? You can't just play dumb now." "Wait a minute. I haven't been cheating." "Oh." Emily seemed to realize something, nodding several times before facing me again. "Did you see me with another man?" "Yes, with a young man, looking happy." "That's not it. That man is my teacher." "What?" According to Emily's explanation, the man she was walking with near the station was indeed a security guard from my company. No mistake about it. But he wasn't a lover or anything. He was her teacher. The lesson is sign language. Emily showed me several sign language textbooks lined up on the desk. They had notes written in various places and were marked with sticky notes. While flipping through the well-used pages, I suddenly realized something. "Is it for Bob's wife?" At my question, Emily nodded. Bob's wife lost her hearing in an accident a few years ago and is hard of hearing. She shows up at parties with Bob but often stays alone, unable to join in the group. Emily wanted to bond with her but hadn't been successful. However, at the last barbecue, she saw a man communicating with Bob's wife in sign language. When she approached the man, it turned out he was a security guard hired from outside. He had become friends with one of the executives and was invited to company gatherings. His sister has a hearing disability, and he's been using sign language since he was a child. When he said, "Would you like me to teach you?" she decided to take him up on it. Learning on her own would take time. She wanted to be proficient by the next gathering, so she decided to take his intensive training. The scene I saw yesterday was them returning from a study session, shaking hands in joy and gratitude for her progress in sign language. The worn-out bucks proved Emily's story was true. But I still wasn't convinced. "Why didn't you just tell me? Was there a reason you couldn't say anything?" That is, Emily hesitated to speak. When I urged her to talk, she timidly said with a frown, "I thought about telling you many times, but you and Bob don't get along right. I thought maybe you'd object." "I see," I realized then. I had been complaining about Bob almost every day at meals, even saying I didn't want to associate with him. Indeed, I had created an atmosphere where she couldn't share. It was none other than myself. So that's how it was. But it's natural for you to suspect me. I was meeting a man, after all. If only I had been honest from the start. I'm really sorry for making you anxious," Emily said, apologetically. I gently embraced her. "I should have just asked you instead of fretting alone. Sorry for making you feel uncomfortable." That settled everything, I thought, but there was one more question left. Remembering, I let go of her and grabbed her shoulders. "Who's Xander?" "Huh? I'm sorry, but I snooped on your phone. There was a call history from someone named Xander." "No, Jack, that's not Xander. It's Alexander, the man teaching me sign language." Hearing that, I was utterly confused. The security guard was the sign language teacher, Alexander. And actually Xander. One after another, my assumptions were overturned. Amused by the absurdity, I burst out laughing. Emily joined in with a cheerful laugh. It's been about 2 months since I started suspecting Emily of cheating. Finally, my heart felt clear. After that, I started learning sign language with Emily. Perhaps because we shared a common challenge, I feel like our bond has deepened more than before. It might sound exaggerated, but I truly believe that. And I finally met the rumored Alexander. He's a very serious and nice young man, and when he learned that I had suspected him, he apologized profusely. At his gesture, both my wife and I felt embarrassed and ended up apologizing instead. It was a bizarre scene, with everyone apologizing though no one was at fault. Then came the day of the next gathering. This time, it was a standing party. As usual, I attended with my wife, Emily. As soon as we entered the venue, I saw Alexander waving and calling out, "Jack, Bob and the others are already here. I'll wait here for you." Bob was deep in conversation with some executives near the entrance. Looking around, I found his wife leaning against the wall at the edge, looking down. Emily smiled and nodded when I glanced at her. Bob's wife looked up at us, tilting her head in uncertainty. "Hello." I greeted her using the sign language I had learned. "My name is Jack. Would you like to talk? She looked at me wide-eyed. Then her somber expression brightened as she returned the greeting. Hello. Her smile made me feel warm inside. I'm glad I learned sign language. Seeing her so happy made it all worthwhile. The weather is nice today, isn't it? Maybe I should have worn lighter clothes. There's some delicious-looking cake over there. Alexander joined in, and ordinary small talk flew back and forth, all in sign language. I wondered how lonely Bob's wife must have been all this time. Surrounded by so many people, yet unable to easily join in conversations. But she's not alone anymore. So many people want to talk with her. Emily made this passable. I can't compete with her. Her talent is in healing others' hearts like this. The party, filled with more smiles than usual, was brimming with happiness. The next day, Bob came to my desk. He handed me a box, almost pushing it into my hands. Take this. It was a beautifully wrapped assortment of sweets. My wife wanted your wife to have this. From your wife, thank you. Jack, thanks for yesterday. I was so surprised, I almost dropped the box. If I remember correctly, this is the first time Bob has thanked me. She was very happy. It's been a long time since she enjoyed herself like that. I can't offer much, but let me buy you a drink tonight at my favorite bar. Bob is more blunt and awkward than anyone. I was deeply touched that he was trying so hard to express his feelings. How about we go to that diner instead of the bar? The food's not great, but I'll join too. Mike, who overheard, chimed in, raising his hand. I'm not buying for you, Mike. Why not? I used to struggle with Bob's rigid and conservative ways. But maybe he's different than I thought. Couples have misunderstandings and doubts from time to time. What matters is communication. And it's not just about talking with voices. There are as many ways to communicate as there are people in this world. Emily regularly meets with Bob's wife now. I make sure to join them to keep up with the sign language I've learned, and greeting Alexander at work has become my responsibility. Emily leaves no one behind. She's like the sun, and it's my job to protect her smile.